Werewolf by Night was a shock, to say the least. When I initially heard about its development, I was surprised that they were actually going to adapt such an obscure character. The trailer came out, and I was cautiously excited. The feature came out, and wow, I was blown away. Marvel finally made something different. In terms of creativity, Marvel seems to have been in a drought. While some of these newer projects start off promising, they typically end pretty formulaically. And that speaks to a whole other problem with Marvel that I'll save for another day, but today I just want to focus on what Werewolf by Night established for the MCU. And that's the promising future of Marvel special presentations. Because I feel the biggest issue plaguing the MCU right now is oversaturation. In 2019, we had Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home. Nothing for 2020. Then in 2021, we had WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, What If, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Hawkeye, and No Way Home all in 1 year. And in 2022, we had Moon Knight, Multiverse of Madness, Ms. Marvel, Love and Thunder, I Am Groot, She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night, Wakanda Forever, and the Guardians Holiday Special. Looking at it that way, that is f***ing bonkers. In Phase 1, 2, and 3, we had maybe 2 to 3 MCU releases a year. Now it's averaging out to 10. What was once just a few movies a year is now a few movies and multiple shows that average out to roughly 10 episodes a pop. The Marvel fever is starting to lose its charm due to the extreme oversaturation. When you oversaturate the market, you create no new demand, because the audience has been given exactly what they wanted and then some. One way to counteract this lack of demand is to cater to new markets, which is exactly what they're doing with these new shows. Just look at She-Hulk and Werewolf by Night, for example. One's essentially a rom-com procedural and the other is a throwback horror film. So pretty much they're just experimenting with new genres to cater to new markets. While this does force Marvel to innovate to stay afloat, it still doesn't fix the issue. Just because they are making more unique properties doesn't change the fact that they're still making too many movies and shows. Reports have been coming out that Kevin Feige has been spread too thin with all these projects and that the Marvel VFX teams are being worked to the bone and putting out subpar products. As I said before, it was 2 to 3 projects a year in 2008. Now, for the past 2 years, it's been 3 to 4 movies and 4 to 5 shows. There's also maybe a few weeks in between these properties where there's nothing releasing, but for the most part, there's always something Marvel happening. This means we fans really have no chance to breathe in between movies and shows. Sometimes in an oversaturated market, you could look to the competitor, but, well. Part of me believes that's why The Boys is so well received, because A, it's a really good show, and B, it's something other than Marvel. But that show comes out every other year or so in the meantime, all we have to get our superhero fix is, well, Marvel. And unless DC steps up their game, but let's be honest, they're, all we have is Marvel. With all that being said, how could Marvel fix this issue? Well, Werewolf by Night did just that. Special presentations. Werewolf by Night introduced its characters, set up the plot, and told the story in about 54 minutes and 40 seconds. It did not overstay its welcome, and because of that, it was fantastic. Most MCU shows could have simply been a 50-minute special. Take Hawkeye, for example. While I feel like I'm in the minority for placing it as my favorite MCU show, I know it received a lot of criticism. I feel like a lot of that criticism would be alleviated if it was simply a 50-minute Christmas special. The story would be tighter, with less room for drawn-out subplots, which is really the issue with a lot of Marvel shows. Because when you really get down to it, some characters just need an hour to tell their story. Because you're really telling me Agatha from WandaVision needs a 10-episode series, or Echo? In my personal opinion, one-offs are better than an 8 to 10 episode season with drawn-out plots and a subpar finale. Now, that doesn't mean that Marvel shows are bad, it means less is more. If Marvel shifts their focus to telling these quick one-off special presentations, then I believe it would fix the oversaturation of the MCU, all the while still allowing them to experiment and cater to new markets. And apparently that's exactly what they're thinking. Recently reported by the Cosmic Circus, they state that Marvel Studios is looking into developing more of these types of special presentations down the road. That the specials will aim to explore stories that can expand the borders of the MCU without having to spread themselves thin with another longer Disney Plus series. The link to the rest of the article is in the description. Now, whether this is true or not remains to be seen. I really enjoyed Werewolf by Night, and I hope they will do similar projects in the future. Maybe do a series of special presentations introducing characters such as Ghost Rider, Black Knight, and Brother Voodoo. Essentially, show the Midnight Suns forming in the background, then have Blade bring them all together. Honestly, could be really cool. Or hell, even some Netflix characters. Based on the leaks and rumors, it seems like Echo is just a backdoor pilot to properly reintroduce them all to the MCU, so why not just skip the series and make multiple one-off special presentations of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist? But keep the Daredevil show, because obviously. Regardless, let me know your thoughts below. Is Marvel oversaturated? Are special presentations the way to go? Do you have a better way of fixing this issue? Let's talk about it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Take care.